Welcome to Meraki Mondays, a new video series where we are recapping the week that was in Meraki news and updates. I'm Dan Stewart, an engineer here at our Ingram Micro Business Transformation Center.
And I am Bobby Young. I'm a technology consultant with Ingram Micro, focusing on Cisco and Meraki.
So, what happened with Meraki this week? Well, the biggest thing that happened this past week was Cisco Live, 2-day virtual event this year where Meraki was present, had some great learning, had some great training, and lucky enough, Bobby and I got to attend.
Yep, yeah. If you're new for Cisco Live's been going around since God, I think it was the early '90s. Usually the thing to go to when it comes to technology. It is usually a live event. Everyone's in person, thousands of people there. They usually have really big, headliners, Aerosmith, Journey. This year they had the Killers that was virtual, but as we've learned over the last year and a half, virtual, cuts it for some things. Musical performances, not so much. But they did a great job. Biggest thing, obviously, from Cisco Live on our take was Meraki's presence there. Dan, what I noticed was that Meraki was definitely more integrated into the Cisco message that they've been in the past.
Yeah, I agree. From the keynotes that were on stage to many of the sessions that I got to attend that were the breakouts, it wasn't really a Meraki standalone, we have this product or they did this new thing that was interesting. It was more of an outcome. How was Meraki leveraged to solve a business need? Whether it was what they say that the sensors were part of it, tying it in with Meraki cameras, leveraging that technology to showcase how an action that might have happened or maybe got you know less visibility without technology in that workspace really showed how easy it was to use Meraki to, really have visibility of things that at one point maybe were invisible going on. So that was exciting to see it really in a production or outcome kind of way with the tagline of, oh, this was powered by Meraki.
Yeah, I felt like they finally kind of moved from the kids' table up to the adult table.
Yeah, it definitely helps when Todd Nightingale is front and center in those conversations and really gets his time on the main stage there and the keynote. So
Yeah,
at the table he
absolutely.
is.
Yeah, I love his energy that he's taken from Meraki and kind of pushed it into his new role in enterprise networking. So if you guys missed it, it's not too bad. Again, the nice thing about having a virtual event instead of a live event is that if you did miss it, all of this stuff is recorded. So there's a couple of different ways that you can kind of go about doing it. Because it was a live event, a live virtual event, there were kind of two different ways that you could go about attending it. And we're actually on the CiscoLive.com page right now. We'll kind of show you kind of what those registration packets were, what's still available, and kind of how you can still experience live. But if you click register now up in the corner, it's going to give you two different options to be able to attend. Right, there was the Explorer option, which was kind of free. This is, hey, I just want maybe from a management level or maybe a non, deep dive technical level, I wanted to kind of see some of the content in there. Then there was the All Access, which was $349 or Cisco 4 Cisco Learning credits, and that gave you access to all of those deep diving, those breakout sessions, alongside some different things like discounted certification offers, as well as some actual workshops that are going to be going on next week. So those will still kind of continue the fun after live is all over by giving you some hands-on labs and some kind of different workshops that we'll be able to attend. You can still, like I said, register for those. However, if you either wanted to do the free version or the paid version, what you'll get access to from here on out is going to be based off of those two different options. So you will have 3 months of unlimited access from an Explorer level for the free one, 3 months unlimited access to the breakout sessions with the paid pass.
Yeah, so even though Cisco Live has come and gone, you definitely can still register to get access to that information. So if you did feel you missed out, you had other things to do, don't worry, you can still sign up and get that. And even the free pass was, pretty lucrative to what they were able to really showcase and highlight in the event. If you didn't have the 350 sitting around from your
Yep.
own change or from your company, the free pass definitely gave some really good information that you can go in and see. And um, one of the best ways to go in and see that is really to understand how you want to learn and that information. And there's different ways to gain how you want to see the Meraki experience at Cisco Live. But one of the best ways we found is to take advantage of the learning maps instead of you carving out and searching with the tools that are in the live portal. If you explore the learning maps, it's kind of already done for you, which is always nice. um, so they do take the learning maps into many different directions, and they broke down a lot of the keynotes and a lot of the events into different categorizations: applications, IoT, cloud was there, collaboration, data center security, and of course networking, where within the networking space you'll see the Cisco Meraki uh, learning map, which we can click on here, and then takes you to a direct link of which breakouts, which sessions could be aligned to what was talked about and what was broadcast for Meraki into the Cisco Live audience.
Yep, and from here you basically just start at the top and you kind of just play Candyland through all of these different videos. So if Dan were to click on the first one, for example, it'll actually bring you up to the recorded session that you can still access. Notice that some of those, anytime it starts with BRK, that's going to be a breakout session that is only available through that all access version. You can upgrade it if you need to. But some of the kind of higher level ones, this first one and some of the other ones down the line, are going to be available on the Explorer level as well. But as Dan said, I think this was a great thing that they did to be able to kind of continue the journey. I know that even though the 2 days that we spent, on this content, sometimes it's just kind of a information overload. So the fact that I can go back at any time from today or over the next 3 months and be able to go through any of those learning maps and kind of get a more of an architecture view on some of the content that was presented is a really nice plus to be able to do it. The funny thing is that while we were doing this, Dan and I were presenting and attending live from home for the first time. Dan, something actually happened in our data center. Was that right?
That is correct. So was it Wednesday morning? I was getting ready for day two of live. I was at home, carving out my schedule, knowing what was going on, and then bright and early, 6:30 in the morning, I got an email alert saying that there was something going on with our data center environment. And for those who may not know, Ingram Micro and our Buffalo campus has a full, what we call a business transformation center, where we have inside of there not only different showcases for next gen classrooms and healthcare and education, but a data center to kind of run all of that information in outcome based environments. And in our data center, which has a lot of gear, Meraki included, I got alert at 6:30 in the morning, and this was an email alert sent to me by our Meraki temperature sensors that we recently installed in our data center. And our threshold of 85 degrees has been eclipsed by, a little bit of an increase. So I said, okay,
Hmm.
temperature variances and something's going on, but I got the email to check into it. So I got a notification from one of my teammates that says, "Hey, I got some demos to do, and I'm seeing that some of my servers were shut down. They were automatically turned off because of heat in the environment." I'm like, "Well, I got an alert in an email. Let me go into the Meraki dashboard, into our new environmental section, and take a look at the sensors that we had in that space." For us, we have one of each of the current sensors: a water sensor, a door sensor, and the temperature sensor. Now, this is a current look right now, and everything seems to be in a good state. But knowing that I got this alert a day ago, we can see that, oh, there's a little spike in my graph here that seemed out of line with what a data center should be within a good temperature variant for. And if I click into the temperature sensor itself, which actually is, again, in our data center, we can see up until, that morning, and I hover over the line graph here, 6:30, got the email alert. We see that our temperature started going up. And not only did it just start going up, it just kept going up in a rapid succession over a period of almost, what, 2 hours or so, almost 3 hours, where it eventually peaked at 112 degrees, which in a equipment based environment where power and all that is important and fans and cooling is of the utmost, that was not good. um, but instead of waiting for that to happen with the Meraki sensor, we were able to kind of mobilize and view that data, go in to talk to our security and staff teams that were on site, and then relay and communicate with the technicians that could service our heating and cooling systems to have it rapidly, diagnosed and then, come down in temperature, all in about 6 hours time to get back to our normal sub 80-degree reasoning, which is now at about 78 is our, current temperature in that center. So that was kind of a technology in action, which really
And
got us right before live started at about, 12 o'clock Eastern, that, temps were going up.
and we've only had those in what, maybe 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah,
So
2 weeks.
if this has happened before, you may not have even noticed it in the first place. You would just notice that maybe the mean time between failure on your servers might be a little bit less over the next couple of years. But yeah, very interesting stuff. And again, the fact of having technology to demo and then having it also work for you is always kind of a nice little run. So we were talking about this earlier because you got an email at 6:30 in the morning,
Yeah,
right? First off, who's checking your email at 6:30 in the morning, right?
I am. I got
um,
kids, so I'm up.
you're up and you're ready to go. You're like, oh, I gotta get down to the office, guys. uh, first thing, no one's really in the office anymore, and we can't be the only ones, obviously, with everything going on right now. Data centers are running off half staff, or maybe there's people that are administering it that aren't necessarily there anymore. They're not physically in the data center. You guys have the data center, and then right next door you have your offices, right? Which is pretty common. Obviously, no one's working right right in that hot aisle. But at the same time, it kind of brought up these questions of like, okay, well, how do we make this so that it not only doesn't happen again, right? Facilities you can't really control too much from our side, but what are some of the rules and alerts that we can do within those sensors, to be able to not only maybe give us a better view, but maybe if Dan wasn't available, or maybe he snoozed his alarm or didn't check his email, this is something that we would want to escalate, and almost on an automated level be able to escalate that, the intensity of that alert, to maybe give some other people notice.
That's a great point. So, being only 2 weeks in with this technology into our Meraki environment, we really just put some core baselines into our setup. So we created a profile, an alert profile, just the data center temperature. I only have one sensor in there right now, and it's kind of running in an always on mode. And I set it to say 85 degrees is a bit too warm, and if it's 10 minutes over that threshold, send me an alert. Or if their 20% relative humidity is eclipsed for 10 minutes, again, send me that alert. We have flexibility of time durations depending how sensitive or timely you want to know that anything is tripping that threshold you do set. And we can have it sent to an email recipient. Could be based on the overall network alert admins you might have set up, or specific ones you want to put online here. You can tie it to an SMS text-based system if need be. And even something I'm looking to do in the short term is tie it with a webhooks into a WebEx Teams space. And we can have different associates that would be available, having this Teams space available, showing us the alerts, and then tying in that level of information with a webhook going forward, utilizing multiple systems at one time. If, to Bobby's point, we wanted to create different schedules of importance and saying, hey, I'm usually in the office, Monday through Friday, so I can be more receptive to some of this information versus the weekends might be of a different caliber of alerting because no one's there. How do we want to go and set those schedules up? And you can go in and create a new schedule, or I've actually started creating some here for weekdays and weekends, and we can say, when do you want the alerts to be enabled for? Is it during the work shift? Is it outside the work shift time? Do you want it only Monday through Friday? Do you want it, in different time periods? And then once you go in and say, which the duration you want it to be, you can then set up a very customizable approach to who would get the alerts, when they
Hmm.
would get the alerts based on a timeline or profile you do want to create for one or several of your sensors.
Okay. And you could create separate profiles. So, in our sense, if we wanted to maybe say, okay, if it gets above 85, email Dan, right? That's something Dan would like to maybe take care of. However, maybe if it did get above 100, we could create a separate profile to maybe, you know, uh, you know, uh, send a text message directly to our director or the director of facilities or someone basically higher than us, in the sense that, hey, if it's getting above 100, this is more of an issue than Dan opening up a window in our Buffalo office, which actually probably with the weather we had today probably would have fixed the problem in about 5 minutes.
Well, you kind of joke because one of the things we had to do in the short term was just have our door to the data center open. So actually, I got another alert into my inbox that said, "Hey, the data center door is open for a prolonged period of time," because we
There you go.
typically want it
Yeah,
closed to preserve the cool air that's in there and keep the balance of flow within the center. But here we got to open the door up to allow that air to escape. And I actually had an alert set up for that door as well. I not only have the door available, but also we have the camera pointed to our data center door, which is the top right hand over here, that correlated to say, okay, who opened the door, when they opened the door, is it even open or closed? And ultimately having multiple systems work together to know that the staff is coming in to check on the system. Where were they checking on the system? Were they allowed in to check the system? But it's utilizing the environmental sensors, coordinating with the cameras, and then allowing us to troubleshoot that. And like we saw in about a 6 hour period, they diagnosed the problem, able to the AC and everything turned back into their operating order. And then within a short period of time, the temperature is back into a much more consistent fashion. So
there you go.
technology in action all
Yeah,
before Cisco Live day two.
creates a great demo. If anything else, as long as nothing's heard in there.
Exactly.
So that's all Dan and I have for this episode. Again, if you guys have any questions, we're going to have our information on this page too to reach out to us. Dan and I are always available to do any Meraki related demos, anything Cisco related. We're also part of a bigger team that basically is Ingram Micro badged. So other vendors that Ingram carries, we can kind of talk about, as Dan mentioned, the kind of business outcome side of these solutions, understanding that Cisco is usually just a portion of the entire solution that we carry.
Spot on. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, everyone. And we'll hope to see you tune in next time. Take care.